Hey everyone, Brian Kelly here. Welcome to another episode of the Cultivate Church Planting Podcast. I hope you've been enjoying the show, and I want to tell you about an opportunity to support church planting and church planters. Go to cgn.org, click on donate. You'll see a drop down for church planting. I'm going to put the link in the show notes, but this is a great way to practically support the work of the ministry, support church planting, support church planters. We're going to see that all those funds go right out onto the field. So just wanted to tell you about that opportunity. And now let's get into the episode. All right, welcome to the Cultivate Church Planting Podcast. And I'm here today with Pilgrim Benham, the one and only, the legend.
It's good to be here. This is take two. Do you remember we recorded a little bit ago and we never used that footage?
We did record a little bit ago, and you've had a few life changes since then, since we last recorded.
Couple things.
Pilgrim and his family are here in Bradenton, Florida. That's where we're recording. We're here at our church and the new campus of Calvary Chapel Bible College, which has been going amazing. Justin Thomas is also he's actually in the building, or in the building next door, and lives in town. We're hoping to get him and Pilgrim on more frequently, just to answer questions all about church planting, pastoring, and life. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Bible College, how it's going?
Oh man, it's just wild. That's the word that Jen and I have been using. Yeah, it's just wild. So, we've got a 50-year-old campus founded by Costa Mesa, under the ministry of Chuck Smith. You're an alumni, I'm an alumni. Like, we went there in the early 2000s. Changed our lives, yeah. Yep. Total direction. And it's always been known as, Murrieta Hot Springs, or, Twin Peaks. So just crazy. I was an adjunct online teacher when I got the news in a staff meeting. And even then I was like, this is crazy that it's relocating to be with Brian. This is awesome.
Imagine how I felt.
You're like, oh, wait, what? Yeah. It's just so cool though. Because I think it's a move for better stewardship, for like longevity, like new vision for, reaching more of the country, East Coast.
Yeah.
And really Eastern Standard is a good spot for reaching the whole world.
Yeah,
a lot of vision behind the move, and a lot of people have asked why. That's like a whole podcast episode probably. But.
Yeah, I think we'll get Justin in here. He talked a little bit about, we had him on a previous episode about the Bible College. It was before the move though. So we'll get him back in here and we'll have him talk about, we'll ask him the hard questions.
Yeah.
We don't want to answer. No. We don't want to ask the hard questions.
No, it's above my pay grade. But no, it's going good. It's exciting. Like He's honoring steps of faith that everyone's taken to be a part of this, from the leadership to the faculty, to the staff, to the students. Like every step that every person has taken, we've seen that old adage, take the leap of faith and then the net appears. Uh-huh. And we can attest to that as our family. Justin can attest to that. A lot of the students are like, this is too crazy. Yeah.
It's like in Joshua, when they go into the promised land and they tell the priests that are carrying the Ark of the Covenant to step into the Jordan before it stops.
Yeah.
And it's only after they step in, it stops. So
like, is there anyone else up there?
How slow are those steps? It's kind of like, when the water's cold and you kind of dip your little toe in and then you kind of go.
Ease into it. Yeah.
But you guys didn't dip your toe in. You just dove right in, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get to teach. They let me teach one of the classes, Mark. I'm teaching the Gospel of Mark, and students are great. There's still a big online community as well. A lot of online students.
Yeah, and Justin can speak more to this, but that's the trend in education in general. It's hard to justify going away, especially out of state, for 2 to 4 years, and I don't want to mean just for Bible college, but it's hard.
Yeah.
But the online program continues to grow, continues to get better and better, more robust.
Yeah, you guys are doing, I remember I recorded a class at Marietta. I taught missions at Marietta, and they were using that somewhat for some online stuff, some remote learning, but it's a whole new program now. It's state of the art. You're using all the technology and everything. So
yeah, and they have I didn't even know about this till I got hired, but there's a legacy library that has archives of hundreds of hours of classes, maybe not as far back as when we were in school, but like over the last 10 years.
Okay.
So some students literally this week were asking, hey, can I like retake, not for credit, but can I like retake the class that I physically took at Marietta? And the answer for some of them is yeah, actually we have that. And it's a very cheap, like affordable subscription.
Man, the classes that I took at Marietta were all recorded on, and then our younger listeners probably won't know what this is, but cassette tapes.
Yeah. You got to flip it over.
Yeah, he gets to the end. Please turn the tape over. You flip it over. They talk about Chuck tracks. We had Chuck tapes. I had, you know what, because you talked about those previous classes. There was a class, I think it was homiletics by David Hawking, that I took way back. That was must have been 98, somewhere around there, in the 1900s. And
did they have the English language back then?
Yeah, we used parchment paper.
I'm from the 1900s. Yeah.
We used slate. We had the little tablets with the the chalk. Man, I had a copy of those tapes, and I remember it was really, really good. I wish I could listen to that, but those ones that are like 10 years old or plus or minus you can listen to those. So you're doing the Bible college. And the Bible college, the campus we're at it's an amazing campus. I'll just talk about it a little bit. It's 10 acres. We don't own the campus. So if there's any really rich people listening to this that want to donate to a church and a Bible college. Yeah, the Lord is leading you. But we're able to lease several of the buildings on the property, including the main large building that we house the church in. And then the Bible college uses shared spaces and all that. It's really a good fit. It's a cool spot.
Yeah.
And you are from Florida.
Yeah. Born originally. And mostly raised. Yep. Born here in Bradenton. Big family from here. Jen's family is from here. Big family as well.
Yeah.
And I grew up here going to Bradenton Christian, actually. And then graduated, or it was like 5th grade, moved up to Atlanta, graduated up there.
Yeah.
But this is home, yeah.
Pilgrim is on the podcast and will be on future episodes because he has a lot of expertise and wisdom when it comes to church planting. And so we're going to pick your brain and we'll just... I like the idea of... Because I interview a lot of people doing different stuff, but I like the idea of having like a regular talk about some of the, the top questions that church planters have and kind of delving deeper into that. And so... You've planted churches. You planted a church here in Bradenton, in East Bradenton.
Yeah. Yep. I sure did.
That for those who are listening, that laugh that you just heard from me is because there's a lot of history and stuff behind it that you may not get the whole story today, but it was a great church.
Why not? I thought that's why we're here.
Okay, whatever.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's up to you.
No.
You are the reason that we're here. And hey, let's back that up. God's the reason we're here.
Can you tell me that every Sunday?
I hear Lord Pilgrim calling. No.
Can you tell me that every Sunday if like someone gets saved?
Yeah.
Just come up and hug me.
Yeah, exactly. This is because of you. It's because of the Lord. The Lord is the reason why we're here. But using you and Jen, we've known you guys since a long time ago. You worked at Calvary Chapel, Sarasota. Sarasota is just south of us. It's about probably 40 minutes drive from here at Calvary Chapel, Sarasota. And a great pastor, Carl Dixon, he's been on the podcast before. And you worked at that church when we were in Africa. We were all young. We were all figuring ministry out. You were a youth pastor, right?
Yeah.
And we went and the church hosted us to kind of share the mission and everything. And we ended up meeting you guys. And we've had a friendship ever since then.
Yeah, I want to say that was like 2004 or 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So it's been a true like 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we sent that team and they came back and said, "Hey, Jen, we found your doppelganger."
Oh yeah.
And Jen was like, "Who?" And so then when we met you and Lynn, both of our wives like kind of like did the full body scan.
Like the Spider-Man.
Yeah, they like
where the Spider-Man points.
Yeah, pointing. And they were both like, "I don't see it."
Yeah,
but,
I know. They're like,
but
no.
There's days where I'm like, "Dang, that's pretty close."
Yeah, that was what the mission team that came over to Uganda where we were ministering. would be like, there's a girl that goes to our church that looks just like you. You guys could be sisters. And then, so we met and we're like, yeah. And they're like, no.
Yeah, no. Well, then, and I remember I was at my son's like baseball practice when we were feeling called back to Bradenton from Tampa. Yeah. So we had planted a church in Tampa 4 years, very hard, very good. The Lord was closing that door and opening the door back here in Bradenton. And so I remember calling you, and you were in San Diego at that time. Mm-hmm. Just after we returned Maranatha, right?
Yep.
And you were praying about what was next for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, come to Bradenton, help us. So even back then we were like...
Actually, I remember that. I had forgotten about that. Yeah. That was the previous time you invited me to this. And I'd never been to Florida before. I mean, I'd been here once when I was a little kid to go on a Disney cruise. Yeah. But Florida was always just kind of like the Wild West almost.
Yeah. Still is.
And that
the
was
land
even,
of the free.
The land of the free. That was even before Florida Man. And Florida Man is a thing. Yeah.
Do people know? Do our listeners know who Florida Man is?
I don't know. Do our listeners know? I would say probably maybe half of them would know. You want to talk about Florida Man?
Yeah. So if you Google your birthday, just the month and the day. Yeah. So mine's November 9th. November 9th, Florida Man. Just Google that, whatever, not that, but whatever your birthday is. Yeah. Just the headline alone is ridiculous.
The research results are going to show you actual headlines from newspapers, television, news broadcasts. And it's like that, when a news announcer says, a Florida man was seen today, wrestling an alligator naked or something like that.
Right, but it's always worse than that.
It's always worse than that. Yeah, I can't even say what it is because it's usually much, much worse. But then, because you laugh at that, but they're actually headlines. And then when you live in Florida, you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. You're like, there's no way. And then about a week here, you're like, yep.
Yep. Although I have to say, the beaches here, Sarasota, Bradenton beaches, the islands off the coast here are really, really beautiful. Some of the best in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of like, I'd say pre-COVID, nobody knew about this area, and now it's on all the social media.
It's flooded, yeah.
People have found it.
Yeah, we found it. But anyway, you guys, you planted a church. So tell us, let's talk about church planting. After all, it is a church planting podcast. What was your first church that you planted? And when? You kind of mentioned a little bit, but why don't you go and tell us the summary.
So you mentioned Calvary Sarasota. Cut my teeth in ministry there. Worked with the youth for about 7 to 9 years. 2002 officially on staff after Bible college till 2010. And then they didn't have like a plan for planting churches. So, they would say they sent me. I would say they did their best to send me. And there's no hard feelings.
Old school Calvary Chapel sending.
Yeah. And I mean, they did keep me on staff for a few months and sent us with, a couple $1,000. Yeah. And I sort of stole the Ukrainian church's sound equipment.
Okay, yeah.
But so, we felt as we were praying, like where, we felt like the lamest church planners or missionaries ever because we didn't know where we were called. Yeah. So we just knew there was, and our elders said, we know that God's called you. We'll get behind you. Now just let's pray for where. Yeah. And it just clicked with me one day. I was talking to my uncle who's like a mentor, and he said, like, when I go out to fish, I don't pray that God would lead me to the fish. I just use a fish finder. So he's like, where, if you want to reach people, where are all the people? Yeah. And it just clicked. Like if Paul were with us today, he'd say, let's go minister to the biggest metropolis. Where's that? And it would be Tampa in our area. Yeah. And I know he'd go into the synagogue for a couple, weeks in a row. But we just said, let's cross it off the list. So we drove up to Tampa and immediately knew right when we got into downtown that was God calling us. And there's a lot more to that, like tons of confirmation. But we basically went by faith. I got a job at Apple, at the mall, and basically it had, was bivocational. Or the phrase now is co-vocational.
Oh, why?
Yeah, I don't know. We've leveled up.
Oh, okay. We're learning something new. I am co-vocational.
You are co-vocational. Yeah.
What's wrong with bivocational?
I have no idea.
Maybe because you're doing two different ones when co is like working together.
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, but if you look it up, that's like the new way of saying it.
Yeah. Okay. Co-vocational.
So urban church, young church. We had Bucks players, Bucks coaches. Very, street people off the street, lots of young, lots of, transient, lots of military. And that's sort of what we were praying for anyway. We wanted to be sort of that, church that was reaching urbanites. And as with any city and anywhere, it's transient. So it's hard work. And
it was in the city itself?
Literally in downtown, like as downtown as it gets. Like when you drop a pin in Tampa, like the pin, you could see it from our, exactly. So it was fun. I argue that urban church planners need probably a decade of like support from the outside. Yeah. So the biggest hurdle we always had was just, we were young and broke.
Young and broke. Yeah. Yep. Young, excited, and broke.
Yeah.
It is more challenging. And back in the olden days when they started doing like church growth stuff and all that, they never said go to the city. They said go to the suburbs where people are more stable and that, et cetera.
I mean, that is a good strategy. You're going to probably be more effective to go to the suburb first and then build up and then city. Go into the city. Yeah.
So of church planners out there, they're thinking, I want to plant a church in, let's think of it. You think of a city and I'll think of a city. And then if it matches someone who's listening, this is confirmation from the Lord. What's your city?
Boston.
Mine is Baltimore.
All right.
Okay. Did you hear that? Boston. If that was if that you're praying about planting a church in one of those, you have to call us and let us know.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know someone who's praying about Boston and.
Oh, did you cheat though?
No.
Okay.
No, they're real early in the process.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know why Baltimore just came to my mind.
I would say
maybe because in one of my fantasy leagues, I've got Lamar Jackson. Ooh. He's injured. So
yeah, whenever this is coming out, he's probably back. It's the Super Bowl at this point.
Yeah, it's the Super Bowl. He's in it. You heard it here first.
But he was injured.
Prophecy.
This has got to be his year, though, man. I don't know.
It's like on.
It was supposed to be last year.
Is it The Simpsons that are always prophesying in their episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a more godly show than The Simpsons.
That's true.
So you planted in the city, but you would recommend if someone's planting in Boston or Baltimore.
I would say wait 2 years, not from this moment, but you need like about 2 years of real preparation.
Wow.
And I know that's hard if you're like just driven in faith. I'd say you need multiple partnerships. So not just your church is sending you or you have a heart, but almost like have CG, have Cultivate, be a part of that. Is there another tribe that can get behind you?
Connecting with Cultivate, doing the initial assessment, which is on our website. But that's kind of one of our goals too, is to connect with these different, because you're right. People have done it. Like they just go in, no help, no assistance. Yeah. And then they just strong arm it and just do it.
It's romantic because it's like, whoa, but it's sort of like storming the gates of hell, by yourself. Yeah. Like that's just,
you're just running out to do it. It's like, we want to storm them.
Yeah.
But we want to go with the church.
Yeah. There's some other people around, there's some wisdom. So I'd say, 2 years of like gearing up, partner with others. And then, man, if you can get like, my argument is like, you need like 10 years of commitment where other churches are, or donors or whatever, people are praying, volunteering, helping, investing. Yeah. And that's where the suburban church around the city.
Yeah. It's much easier because people are living there. If you're in a lot of city, every city is different, but a lot of downtown areas, city center areas, people aren't living there for the most part. Yeah. They're commuting in there and they don't like to most of the time because they're either working there or it's traffic or.
And that was our experience. Like the downtown was dead on the weekend. Yeah. So but now it's different. So that's starting to shift, like depending on the city. Okay. But a lot of the cities are like gentrifying. So like people like suburban sprawl, right? 50s, 60s, they headed out and cities expanded into suburbs. But now it's starting to inverse a little where there's going to be basically more people in cities than not in cities. Like we reached that tipping point.
Like living in cities?
Yeah, we reached that tipping point in like 2016 or something. Okay. Where more people, and it'll never reverse, more people are urban centers than non-urban centers globally. Okay. And it'll never correct.
The urban centers are a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah.
Although one time, I mean, me and Lynn, that's my wife, Lynn. We used to go, for our listeners, we used to go to New York City. That's a city.
Yeah.
That's a big city. The biggest in the United States.
Yeah.
And we're
do
like,
you know,
man.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're going to say something interesting.
No, do you know like the top 4 cities in the country?
I used to. It was like New York, LA, Houston, and Chicago.
Yeah.
Is that
Houston
right?
surprised me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got LA, New York, Chicago, but when I found out it was Houston, I was like, what?
Oh yeah, I've been to Houston. It's horrible. Well, no offense to if you're listening in Houston.
Someone wants to plant in Houston and you just,
I just
redirected them to Baltimore.
I've never been to Baltimore, but I think it's horrible too. It sounds like I grew up in New Mexico, and Albuquerque is legit horrible. I mean, all cities are okay, but Albuquerque has the highest crime like per capita. It's like worse than like cities in like other countries that are dangerous.
Oh, it like outpunches its weight.
Yeah.
And crime. Yeah.
Crime. Big crime.
Yeah, I've driven through there.
Houston is massive though. Yeah. It's big. So anyway, we were, I was talking about, what was I talking about?
We were talking about New York. New York is a city.
So we're like, okay, you know, it's cool. It's great here. You can go see a show. You can go to a nice restaurant. There's so many people. It's just the whole experience, you know. It's like, especially if you go around Christmas time, because I love Christmas, and you got the tree in Rockefeller Center and all this cool stuff.
It's so fun.
We've done mission trips there. We went on a few mission trips with our when I was at Maranatha Chapel. We did some missions there. And then we always thought, you know, but then because we always had kids. Now our kids my youngest is 20. And so it's like, we always thought, we could never live, especially, I think it was for the kids. Like, what do you do with your kids? And you have parents that live there, they live there. But now I think, you know what, we're like, we could live in like an apartment and just in the city. Yeah. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I would much rather live, here's where you're going to hate me. Our listeners are going to hate me. And then Lynn makes fun of me for this. And I have a reason why I feel this way, so I'll explain that. But I like the cookie cutter planned suburban like housing and shopping areas. Okay. Yeah, like one of my favorite cities in the world is Las Vegas. Okay. And a lot of people think, oh, Las Vegas, that's the strip and everything. No. So my in-laws lived there for like over 20 years, so we'd visit all the time. They're planned communities.
Like Henderson kind of?
Henderson, Henderson, all those areas around there, even Las Vegas itself. Unless you get on the wrong side of it, and then it's dangerous. But it's all planned out. You got your restaurants, big box stores, Walmarts, anything that you could possibly want. Yeah. And the roads are all nice. Here's why I think that I've been ruined is because we lived in Uganda for 10 years, and nothing is... it's a wonderful country. I love Uganda, so I don't want to be offensive, but the infrastructure is not great. The roads, a lot of them have potholes in them. They're all windy. There wasn't a lot of planning that went into the cities.
Right, Kampala's just like
it's chaotic.
Overwhelmed with people.
It's chaotic. Yeah. So, and I'm kind of like an OCD type personality myself. So when I had so much chaos, it was like really bad for me. So every time I would come back to visit on furlough or whatever, and we'd go to Lynn's parents' house, they lived in a nice neighborhood, all planned out. It was like, this is
like
where
Pleasantville.
This is where I want to be.
1950s, all the streets are perfect squares.
Exactly. If you need to go to In-N-Out, it's right down the street. If you need to go to Chick-fil-A, if you need to, go to Target, wherever you need to go, it's right there.
Well, I mean, suburban churches are still like, we still need lots of suburban churches. Yeah. Lots of even
well, that's where people are still
churches.
Living they're still living out there. So, yeah. But going into the city, it's like, all right, we want to plant a church in a city. Maybe it's a better idea to do one outside of the city. Because you can because people like to brag. This is what church planners do. This is a secret. They like to brag about where they're planting a church. So if you ask someone who's living in Bradenton, well, hey, are you planning a church? Yeah, I'm planning a church in Tampa.
Right. Or yeah, someone literally did that. They were nowhere near Tampa, and we were in Tampa. Literally, I lived on Bayshore Boulevard. I'm right there, and you can see the skyline. And this person's like, "I love the city I'm planting in." And I was like, "Bro, you're way out in Brandon. Like that's on the other side of the bay. What are you talking about?" But yeah, we would say like, "Where's Bradenton?" "Oh, Anna Maria Island."
Yeah.
We're not necessarily on AMI. But,
no.
Yeah.
That's what we do. They're like, or it was like we were up in near Seattle, and you had all the churches that were around Seattle. Even what's funny is it's called Wayne Taylor, who's a good friend of ours, is planted a great Calvary Chapel in Seattle.
Yeah.
But it really isn't in Seattle.
It's Mountain Lake.
Yeah, it's Mountain Lake,
Yeah.
Kateris. Yeah, it's like 40 minutes north of Seattle. So it counts.
I mean, yeah, compared to us, it's Seattle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Seattle. It counts. Yeah, so you planted that church in Tampa.
Yeah.
And the church is still there?
Yeah. So God gave me a very specific and almost like very spiritual vision of what that church would be. And it included another person. And I didn't know who that was, but when I met Pastor Joe Harris from Calvary Chapel St. Pete, he had been praying about planting in Tampa, and he sort of joined, started leading our worship, became an associate pastor. And it was like, one day it just dawned on me, like that was the vision I had, it's this guy, and to continue the work. And we thought it was very like tough on our identity. We were almost asking like, is it okay to plant again? We felt like God had called us, and my whole thing was like, then he's called us, we're going to stay.
Yeah, we're here.
So for us to like turn the church over to someone else and say, now it's your call to continue shepherding this work, and it felt sort of like abandoning the flock, like I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's good.
So I was like, is there precedent for this? Like, okay, there's some guys in Calvary, it was funny, like how much I needed like confirmation for that. Almost more. And honestly, it was more. It was more confirmation than the original calling to plant. It was, am I a serial church planter? And maybe this is just what God's calling me to do next. Yeah. Right. Instead of like,
this is my identity. Yeah. It can be what's next.
Just be obedient. So, so there was a few like main doors opening, like all the roads were sort of, even at Apple, they were wanting me to move down here and sort of open a store, which was the catalyst to begin us on this trajectory. But then I ended up not staying with Apple. I got into like, back at Calvary Sarasota, working for their Christian school. Oh yeah. And, so that was just cool to see like the Lord open that door to point us through it and then redirect for, our co-vocation or whatever.
I like that. Co-vocational.
So then we planted Shoreline, and completely different than the church we had planted in Tampa. So the urban church is young, broke, slow growing, going. Yeah. Transient, hard. And this was fast growing, old and young.
Yeah. More stable.
People. We had finances immediately. Yeah. So some of that is we learned and did things different and better.
You planned differently.
But also the Holy Spirit just did a different work. So it wasn't like, now we learned this principle, we're going to apply it.
Right.
Part of it's that, and the other part is God just did something totally fresh.
Yeah, it takes a different and unique work in each different area. So we've got urban. I know that's like the romantic part of the church planting is urban church. I don't know. Is it changing though? Because are we stuck in? Because when church planting was like super popular, it was like the same time like millennials, even hipsters. Remember hipsters? Yeah. Where you had the plaid and the You
look like a lumberjack that was indoors. You're an indoor lumberjack. You've never touched an axe except for axe throwing.
Axe throwing, yeah. I was going to say Axe body spray, but a hipster would never touch that stuff. No. They're going to use some kind of a beeswax or something.
Yeah. It's in the beard.
Yeah. I think I use a little beeswax. Do you use beeswax in your beard?
It's none of your beeswax.
But I was going to say, like,
bit.
with church planting, it was like, I feel like that was, especially like during Mars Hill, Mark Driscoll, like everybody was kind of like, oh, young people are getting back in church.
Yeah.
And then because of that, it was like, okay, church planting.
That was definitely what motivated me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely was bought into that whole vision.
Yeah, and it was
I gotta
great.
do
Look what
this.
happened. Yeah, and I feel like it's obviously things change, culture changes, church cultures change, and so I feel like that was really the urban, even with like Tim Keller and Center Church and all that. It was like urban, like cool. We're gonna go to coffee shops and like have our pour overs and stuff. You still like all that though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it's like, do you think that's still kind of a draw for church planters? I'm trying to get my finger on the pulse of young church planters today. Like, is it still a draw to hit the city center rather than because the suburbs are so boring. Like the places I described where it's like all cookie cutter, that's so boring. Why would you want to?
Yeah, but at least they have In-N-Out.
The In-N-Outs in the city though are kind of ghetto. They have some in the city.
Yeah.
They don't have them here in Tampa, but
right.
Like try going to LA or like Hollywood and go to In-N-Out.
Right.
You get robbed.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least you'll be happy when you're being robbed.
Yeah.
This is good.
Double.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't know if it's like trendy. Is that what you're saying? Is it trendy?
Yeah, trendy, I guess.
I feel like nowadays, there's still a draw for sure. No, I think people are still wherever there's people, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I honestly think that politics have shifted the church map.
Oh,
so
okay.
suddenly people are called to Idaho, and I'm not trying to knock this, but like suddenly they're called to Idaho, they're called to, even parts of Nevada, they're called
Florida.
to Arizona, they're called to Florida, they're called to the South, they're called away from California, away from New
Almost
York.
for religious freedom in a sense.
Yeah. That's the trend I think is happening.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because COVID changed everything and the whole, just the whole, you're right. Politics plays a big...
Just drop the whole deck and scattered it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now where are we deciding to go? And because we went and planted up in Bellingham, Washington, or I should say Seattle. No.
That's right.
That was an hour and a half from north of Seattle, so
hey,
it
we're
doesn't
going with
count.
Seattle. Yeah.
It's actually closer to Vancouver, Canada than Seattle, but it is in the United States still, so.
Right.
But it's totally like... we would say liberal,
right?
In every way, theologically. Well, there's no theologically. There's no Christians really. I mean, there are, but it's a very big minority in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, I think the Holy Spirit will still motivate, like when we feel a call and we sense a call and we want to plant a church. Like none of us want to go where there's not a need. Like I remember we thought Austin may have been the place instead of Tampa, and I called an Acts 29 guy and I said, "Tell me about the need."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, we have like 45 church plants right now in downtown." And Austin's decently big. It's not tiny.
Yeah, you can handle 45, but still.
He's like, there's a part on the one side of town that's more Hispanic, really needs a faithful church plant. And I was like, no hablo. Like, I don't think that's me. So that just sort of shut that whole idea down.
Yeah.
So I think
wherever there's a need, there's still, wherever there's people, there's still going to be a need.
Yeah.
And we thought about Austin too for a little while because we've got some friends that live there.
You would have been a better fit in Austin than me.
And I would have been a better fit than you?
Yeah.
I don't know. Austin is weird. They're proud of that. Keep Austin weird.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
Right, exactly. You're proving my point.
I get it. But we ended up here. We were going to go on a exploratory trip to Austin, and it was, I don't know if it was probably 4 years. It was 4 years ago. There was a huge blizzard, like a snowstorm, freezy storm. I can't remember what they called it. The polar vortex.
Oh, wow.
In Austin. And where our flight was supposed to go in there, we had to cancel our flight, tell our friends we weren't going to show up. And that's when we decided, I guess we're staying in Florida.
There's no polar vortex in Florida.
No, but there's a wind vortex.
That's true.
Otherwise known as hurricanes. Yeah. Which, knock on wood, there's none this year.
No, not so far.
Nope.
It's kind of unprecedented.
We had enough last year for like the next 10.
Yeah, true. We left just in time and came back just in time.
Exactly. You did it. So if you were to say city, okay, let's just say, of course, God's will is first. Where's God leading you?
Yeah.
But if you're just going to give advice to someone that says, I feel like God would have me plant either in a suburb or a city.
Yeah.
I have a heart for both. Like, what would you say? First time church planter.
I'm loving the idea. I think the Christian Missionary Alliance does this idea of garden planting, and I could be wrong. It might not be them, but this idea of like,
sounds familiar.
What's the next city away from us? You know, like for north of us here would be Palmetto. Mm-hmm. So it's, or Allenton or Parrish. It's just far enough away that we can have an impact. Yeah. And we can have a footprint there where we could ask some people to take a year of like devotion and commitment and like go there, tithe there. Mm-hmm. We could support it. We can still keep tabs. We can exchange pulpits.
Right.
And then we sort of have a vested interest in our daughter church right up the road. Uh-huh. And then they eventually with us say, let's go a little further. How about Riverview? Let's together plant, but they'll have the assets and the people will have the backing. I love that idea. So I would love to see more guys like pray about that. Okay. And because you and I, like we did the parachute plant where you move into a town you don't know or know very few.
Right.
And you just land like a parachute and then go, okay, now let's set up shop. You got a
little team. If you're lucky, you got a little team and you just start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's cool. And there's still people doing that. Like randomly, I got, like 3 guys I know right now moving to Sarasota to plant. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're not from here. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's cool, but like, it's a little bit separate from what we're praying about as a church, right? Yeah. What if we were praying about doing something? Now we've got outside, and you don't mean to be competitive, but sometimes we can move into a city and start becoming competitive with what God's already doing there.
Yeah. 'Cause you kind of, especially if, like, I understand denominations are all different, and so you need different reflections of different denominations. That's fine. But especially if it's someone that's very similar, like-minded to what we're doing, it's almost like, and I've always encouraged people to do this. We do this within Cultivate as well. Is what are the other local churches that are either Calvary Chapel or very similar to Calvary Chapel already doing? Try to find out. That's what you do in investigation. Because you don't want to go in, if you talk about garden planting, you don't want to go in and like kind of walk through someone else's garden in a sense, like stomp on the carrots.
And then there's that idea that gardens don't launch. So like, it's not a launch Sunday. It's more of we're going to start doing small groups and Bible studies, and then it will build up having it grows organically almost. Yeah. And then we'll work towards having a, Sunday. Versus sometimes, if you miss a big launch, especially in an urban context, and it's not critical mass of like 50 to 100, it'll take a long time, many years. We never broke 100 in Tampa. Yeah, we broke 100 within, 2 months, 3 months in Bradenton. Yeah. So, and we were there 4 years up there, So I think if you're going into the city, if you're going urban, you got to be ready to work hard, and it's it's a harder ground. Yeah, it's just different. Yeah, it's different. It's harder. Yeah. It may be more exciting at times, but if you want the boring old stability of church growth and impacting your community, go to the suburbs. Yeah. Garden plant. So let's talk about our church here, West Church. Pilgrim's, he is a pastor here at West Church, which is amazing. We're blessed by Justin and Pilgrim and the rest of our team that's been here. But we always encourage churches, plant other churches, go out and start other churches. And I'm not talking about you specifically, but we've got young guys that are ready to be trained up to go out and plant churches here at the church. So what would our strategy be if it was a garden type strategy? What would we do? Oh yeah, we would build into like the DNA of our church. We would have a couple pipelines. So we'd have like a preaching mentorship, which I love talking about with Expositors Collective. Yeah, that's like a big piece of it. Yeah, that's a huge factor in church planting, is how effective is the communication. Yeah. So, Guy has a big heart and maybe even good connections and good resources, but the guy can't teach.
Yeah.
He's like awful. He might still be successful. It's going to be challenging though, to build a ministry around bad teaching or poor teaching. So I think a pipeline of subpar, but I think a pipeline of like, even if it's not for church planters, man, this is great for, even just husbands, dads to be able to pastor their families. Yeah. But man, it's incredible if you have a spot where you can raise up 8 to 10 guys every, year and a half who are like working with the youth, working with young adults.
Yep. Every opportunity they can do, they're helping out, serving.
Yeah.
Learning how to serve, learning how to teach, learning all that.
Yeah. So I'd say that'd be one like pipeline. And then I think from that, you sort of identify the cream sort of rises to the top and you go, okay, these 3 guys are next level. You kind of
identify them through that process.
Yeah.
And we just need to be much more intentional. We're relatively new as a church. We're 4 years old. And so we're not a church plant anymore. I've discussed this before. We can do it on a future episode because we'll come to a close here in a second. But we're kind of past that point of being a church plant to where we're actually a church.
Yep.
And so now we have to be intentional about doing these kind of things. And you and I have talked about this off mic, but we need to be intentional about doing the preaching, guys with the preaching, getting practical ways for them to serve, and then start thinking about, planting ourselves, because we have to keep doing this. I mean, it's the Great Commission, is go, not stay. We have to have a go component in our churches. And I think that's on us, right? So we're called to equip the saints. So part of equipping would be from that preaching mentorship. Okay, there's also a pastoral cohort. Yeah. And you're not a pastor yet, but you're being trained in the ministry or elder training, whatever. And you might be one of our pastor. I love that idea with when Paul talks about deacons, and he's like, he has to be like tested first. Yeah. So a lot of guys, we were saying this at chapel this morning at Bible College, but a lot of guys are like self-sent. Yeah. But they've never cut their teeth in actual ministry. Yeah. They've never been proven in ministry. Or they didn't like it, and that's why they were self-sent, because they couldn't cut it with I know some of those guys. Environment that is actually, you need to learn how to do it. I remember I gave feedback to a guy who did communion. He felt called to plant a church, and it wasn't bad. He just was not real clear. He started crying during communion. You couldn't understand him. He just took the bread and the juice and didn't lead us. Right. He wasn't real clear on what you were supposed to do. So I gave him feedback hey man, I really appreciate it. But next time, intelligibility and clarity is key with the word and with communion. This is very helpful for him to hear, probably. Yeah. And he got so offended. Oh, he thought you didn't like him or something. Yeah. He just felt like he did a perfect job and didn't need correction. And I was just trying to help him get better. And so he left, planted the church, was a train wreck. Yeah. I would love to see pastoral training, raise up some guys who may feel called to do that. And then maybe even within that, it's more specialized. Hey, we're now on the fast track for the next 6 months to a year. Sure. You identify those guys who have the gift of leadership as well as teaching and stuff, fitting teams together and stuff like that. And then they have a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, gathering where they pray. Yeah. He shares 15 minutes. Because we've got that becomes the church, prep, group. So. Because we've got people that are commuting 20, 30 minutes. I mean, if you could plant 30 minutes away, not you, but South Church. South, it's called North Church, East Church. We were stuck. It's like those churches that say the church name based on the street the church is on, and then they go make an extension campus or a church plant, and their church is named 4th Street Church, and it's yeah. We're West Church, so everything has to be. You can't go further west. But we're actually in the east of the country, but we're on the west of Florida, and we're in the west of Bradenton. We're in the west of Florida, so as long as we stayed in the west, it would still count. Or we changed the name.
That's above my pay grade, man. That's your job.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's make sure to do this again. Thanks for being on the episode. Good talking about. I think there was some good stuff in there. I really liked the urban versus the rural kind of comparison, and it'd be good to talk more about that in the future. And I want to do questions that church planners have. Maybe we'll get a list of them, and me, you, and Justin. If he's not teaching, we can record some. But thanks for being on the show, Pilgrim.
Absolutely.
Good chatting with you. Went much better than the last episode we did together that never aired was good too.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But times have changed.
Glad that you're here. Thanks for being on the episode, and we'll do it again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for listening. The Cultivate Church Planting Podcast is part of CGN Media, a podcast network that points to Christ. Check out cgnmedia.org for more great shows and ways to support the ministry.